Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the CoachCon podcast. This is episode 31 today. I'm joined by Luke Rowe again, who was on one of the very first podcasts that I did. I believe it was the fourth one. So it's nice to have him back on again. Completely different episode for you guys today. So we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the fitness industry. We're going to talk a little bit about coaching, everything to do with the coaching business at the moment. There's a lot going on. And the idea of the episode that we were throwing around is just to essentially help coaches that are maybe struggling a little bit, struggling to pick clients up. Maybe they're just starting out, or maybe it's going to help some folks who maybe already doing quite well and they just need a little bit of a hand. Me and Luke have been doing this now for quite a few years. We met in a coaching mentorship a few years back, which I'm sure we'll probably touch on briefly as well, as that is quite a thing. So completely different episodes, not sort of around the usual thing of, fat loss, muscle gain, that kind of thing. It's more of a business-focused episode in the hope of hopefully helping a few coaches out there. So Luke, fantastic to have you back on, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, hey, congratulations on 31 episodes. That's consistency.
It is. You know what, mate? I enjoy doing them. I was just having this conversation in the gym this morning, and I was, because the way you booked in today, I do a link now, so that's a little bit behind the scenes there. So we do a link now. So rather than going back and forth on Instagram with everyone, when are you free? When you come on talk to me? It's just like, here's a link. These are all my times till March. Like,
I need to do that for mine because I'm going back and forth with everyone right now and trying to sort out times, but I need to set up a link and just let people choose.
Literally just a Calendly link, and it was actually Kieran O'Neill that gave us the idea, so fortunately I've got him on in a few weeks' time, which will be great. Obviously,
that'll be a really good episode.
We both know Kieran quite well, and that'd be great to have him on. He replied, he says, have you got a booking link? I was like, for you, Kieran, I'm going to make one. And then that's the new thing. I thought, if Kieran wants a link, he can have one.
What he does, you say, like, what he says, you do.
Oh, that's it. No, that's going to be brilliant to have him on. But yeah, so as we were saying, it's going to be kind of a business episode. So where are you at the moment, Luke, with everything? Obviously not necessarily going to facts and figures, but how's sort of business for yourself? What's kind of going on with your fitness business at the moment, man?
Yeah, man, so we've got two coaches working underneath, and it's busy, we've sitting close to, I think, 104 clients across three of us. 104 clients across three of us. Things are busy. Today's a busy day because first check-in day of the week, so getting a few check-ins done. But yeah, man, things are busy. January wasn't as busy as I actually expected it to be. My January last year was actually a lot busier.
Yeah.
And a few ups and downs in January. We had a lot of clients finish their journeys, like been on 3-ish years. A couple of people like illnesses that are intense illnesses, so stuff kind of out of our hands. But I suppose like running a business is, you're always going to run into flipping challenges and stuff like that. So I suppose it maybe sounds good, like 3 coaches and 100 odd clients, but it's still stressful.
Yeah, I think the reality when you've got, I'm nowhere near that, and it's not kind of crossed my mind to be that far along. But I think the more you get in, the more you, as you say, with the stress and so on. Even things like chasing payments. We know through setting Stripe up and go cardless, things can bounce. People can have money bounce, things like that. And then if you're chasing that as well, that's another stress, isn't it? Like the financial side, because the more you make, the more you end up spending anyway, which is something I'm very good at.
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard. Like it's there's so many things to think about, and then usually at every other level there's more money to be spent. Like, I used to run I still do run like step challenges, and like we would give 50 quid to each team, each winner of each team with a step challenge, and we do this regularly. But now, like, it's teams of like 6 and 7, and you're like, I can't, I'm not giving out, So there's different wee things like that to think about. Like, you have to reallocate budgets for certain things. And I would, like, if my clients are struggling with something, like I would notice, say, we're doing like a T-bar row and the weight hasn't moved up, and I'm like, let me see a form video. we look at it and they're not using straps. We're like, I've sent you a pair of straps. Used to do that a lot for clients, but it's hard when there's there's a lot more obviously to pay for. So
Yeah.
yeah, just different budgeting. And as you say, like you start to maybe buy some shit that you don't need, or
Yeah.
um, be a bit more fruitful with the spending.
That's the thing that's been with me. I mean, I did pretty well last January. That was a really good time for me. But again, I don't even know where half of that's gone. In a sense, money wise, things like that. You seem to rack more debt up, and you change the car and stuff like that. So you pay more
Yeah,
for that, and I think you just make a lot of daft decisions, because I think it's nice to have recurring income, but at the same time, you also get things like, again, drop-offs, people leaving, payments bouncing. It's sometimes, I think, very hard to know where you're at, as I don't think in a way money's guaranteed with this
mm.
career in a way,
Yeah, yeah. No,
necessarily.
it's not. It's made out to be some type of like luxurious lifestyle. You see people sitting on a beach,
Mm,
doing check-ins at a laptop, sipping a cocktail. Um, I mean, 12 hours a day, apart from when I go to the gym, or if I'm out now, at the minute I'm doing a step challenge, so I'm doing a lot of walking on the walking pad next door, but like I'm in this bedroom most of the day.
yeah,
It's an office job. Um,
yeah,
it's definitely an office job, but yeah, and there's other stressors too. Like, uh, I seen this meme yesterday of this guy sleeping like peacefully, then he jumps out of bed at like 12 a.m. and it's like, fuck, I forgot to do this or this, and
mm,
I go to bed thinking about work, and then I've had dreams of that I'm doing check-ins, or that I'm
yeah,
like making social media posts, and then I wake
yeah,
up in the morning and I'm like, fuck, I just feel like I've worked an 8 hour shift in my sleep. Um,
yes.
it's all consuming, like it is.
I think so, definitely. You don't switch off from it. I mean, I know, like the other night, I mean, we'll get into this, the buzzwords of lead generation and so on, I'm sure. But I found myself the other night just at the computer, and it was like 7 o'clock at night, and I'm still typing a few messages. And again, the DMs on Instagram, I think that's something that can be very draining, because
Mm.
depending on who you're speaking to as well, with respect to you, if you're back and forth and you're just trying to help people, not even try and get them into your program, I think that can be very draining, the things you run into, and you're almost
Yeah.
bordering playing therapist at some points as well, aren't you? And that not only
It's
just for clients, but in
Yeah,
general.
especially for me, like I would be quite introverted. I would be quite. I'm not a big talker, but with this job, like you're either talking and sending voice notes to clients,
Yeah.
talking on check-ins, talking on podcasts or videos, or talking in your messages and your emails for people maybe looking advice or who want to join. So I feel like all I do 12 hours a day is talk.
Yeah.
Apart from if I'm updating programs, like that's one of my most favorite things to do, because I just get to sit at the laptop and be quiet. Um,
Certainly. So when
Drains you.
when yeah, I was just going to ask you there, because you mentioned about the 12 hours as well. So typically, what's that day looking like? You mentioned you get your time away for the gym, and of course with the step challenge at the moment, which we will touch on as well, that you're doing. But what's that kind of looking like for you? How do you structure that work, and
How
what
do I
you're doing?
structure the day? Yeah. So the reason that I do such long hours is I when I left the office job that I was in, I got a job in an MMA school, teaching classes, and I was kind of doing like rehab on the side. So I would get up and I'd have like two clients from like 8 to 10, and then I'd be into work at like 10:30, and then my last class would finish at like 8, and then we'd have another client after that, and I did that for like 18 months, and then with sports massage, when I went and done that full time, we'd have a couple of clients in the morning, and then majority of clients would be in the evening. So I was always just used to like the last maybe 6 or 7 years, my lifestyle has been Monday to Thursday at least. Like I work from the minute that I'm awake until I go to bed. Like I don't do anything else midweek. I enjoy my weekends fully. I take a good bit of time off over the weekend, but Monday to Thursday I work until I wake until I sleep. And in terms of how I actually structure the day, so I usually get up around 6:30, maybe 7, and as soon as I'm up, I just jump on the walking pad straight away, get a coffee and stuff. If it's sunny, I'll go for a walk outside, and I'll just take a look at client replies. So, in the WhatsApp, answering questions, checking in on people maybe who haven't replied in a couple of days, seeing how people are, etc. Taking a look at like people who were struggling and stuff, and that usually is always about 2 hours. So it takes me up to about 9, half 9. Then after that, I go to the gym, and I'll train for an hour. The gym I train at's only 5 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll come back and get a bit of breakfast, and then I'll do some type of like marketing work. So whether that's writing some emails or filming a few videos or coming up with video ideas, and I'll do that for about 2 hours, and then I'll have an hour where I go back into client replies, and I always do my client replies walking, and then I'll have another 30 minutes usually where I'll take a look at like program changes and stuff. So I just have like a wee to-do list book where it's like client to do. So if someone asks me to change the weight that they've entered on an exercise because it's wrong, or like update their program because they don't have that bit of kit, I'll do all that in that time frame. And then after that, I don't really jump into my Instagram DMs too much. If people Instagram DM me, it's usually awful. Everything I do usually run through WhatsApp. But I do have it in my diary to go into Instagram, but I don't usually stick to that too much. And then after that, it's back into client replies for like 2-ish hours, and then at the end of the night, I'll usually edit some of the videos that I've made that day, and that's pretty
Yeah.
much how the structure goes. Bit different on a Thursday because I usually spend all Thursday doing check-ins, so it's usually like from 7:30ish to about half 9. I'll do check-ins, then the gym, and then sort of from 11:30 to about 5 check-ins, and then another 90 minutes or 2 hours of replies, client replies and stuff. So
Fair enough. Yeah,
usually how it's
that's
structured.
yeah. And when you say about the plan as well, is this all in the calendar? Are you sort of you stick to things rigidly like that?
Yeah, it would be in the calendar, just as like reoccurring blocks. I've done it so many different ways. Like I had themes for each day before, where it was like, right, Monday was setting the intention for the week in terms of what was the big thing that needed to get done, and then Tuesday was like the emails, the website building, the background stuff. Wednesday was video idea making and client replies and check-ins. Thursday was check-ins, and Friday was like the filming day for content and reviews. Saturday was always just replies. Uh, but I found like things would pop up and then I couldn't really stick to that. So
Yeah.
the way I do it now is I follow that exact structure, but sometimes things get overrun, stuff pops up, and what I tend to do now is as soon as I finish work, I take 5 minutes to just block out the day, like hour by hour. Because if I said that I was going to do that structure every single day, like next week I could end up going to meet a client, or I could end
Mm.
up maybe doing a video with someone, or training at a different time because something happens in life that throws me off. So I usually know better about what's going to happen the day before rather than the week before.
Yeah.
So that's the usual structure. The one thing that doesn't change is I always start the day off with 2 hours of replies, and then the gym time's usually very similar.
Got you. So it's, yeah, I think having structure and getting your calendar set is the important thing. I mean, I'm pretty good with mine. It is the thing of like, right, work block here and the things I'm working on at the minute. Like, we'll get into this as well, but even I've gone back into doing a little bit of outbound just because I found that when business has been good before, that's when I have been doing that. I think the content at the minute has been pretty good, but it's just it's not as such getting people as over the line as I'd like, you know.
Mhm.
And just to kind of touch on that as well, of course you've been highly successful. The clients you've got a couple of coaches that you're working with now as well. What's been your big conversion in terms of signing clients up? There's many ways to do it.
You'll probably know from looking at my page that my content is awful and it doesn't perform well. Um, so content's definitely not one for me. Well, that's a bit of a lie.
Yeah, it
Content's,
is. It's good stuff. I mean, particularly the photo shoot as well, which we'll get on to. But
yeah, I think that definitely helped a lot. I mean, my so we were in the coaches we were in a mentorship, a business mentorship together,
we
and
were.
I don't know if you remember. It was maybe well, it was the second or third month that I was in it that
Hmm.
they'd recommend I did like a 28-day challenge where you coach people for free.
Yeah.
and it's almost like a bit of a free trial. So that worked really well for me, and I loved the idea of it because I was like, I don't have to like be salesy and be like sleek it, and I just be like when I'm talking to people who maybe reply to a story or who have followed me off a piece of content or who've inquired about like a resource that I've built. Maybe it's a diet cheat sheet, maybe it's a sleep training or whatever, and I get chatting to them. I just try and be like, I always imagine someone has paid me to give them advice on this, so I try and come at it from a helpful lens. And most coaches usually, once they get a bit of an idea about what the person's at, they'll go, by the way, like if you want some extra help with this, we have this program. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah.
What I'd done instead for a very long time that I've kind of went away from is when I'd figured out what someone needs, I would be like, hey, I'll coach you for free for like 2 weeks or a month if you want. No credit card, no payment details. Like I'll just put you on my system and I'll coach you. And no one turns that down. I don't think I've had anyone ever turn that down. And I just coached them for free for like 2, 3, 4 weeks. And at the end of it was like, do you want to stay on? And I wowed them. Like I was like over delivering as I try and do for all clients. But
Hmm.
I just found it, I was like, when that worked for me, because I think when I done that in like the second month, I think I got like 6 or 7 clients at the end of the challenge. And I was like, I'm just going to do one of these every month. Like in a year, I'll have like 60, 70 clients. And that's essentially what I did. I actually booked out a space in a shopping centre close to me. I
Hmm.
set up a big stand and I had like posters and stuff made. I spent like 100 quid on protein bars, bottles of water, crisps, and I stood, most awkward thing ever, in the middle of the shopping centre, and I bought a big wheel and I wrote on the wheel like protein bar, free coaching, protein bar, free coaching, protein bar. And I just walked in the middle of the shopping centre and I was like paid like £200 to be there for the day, and I had all these forms wrote out, and I was like saying to everyone, do you want to spin the wheel and win a free prize? Most people just don't even respond, they walk past. But every hour you'd get like one or two that would be like, yeah, I'll feel sorry for you and I'll spin this wheel. They'd spin the wheel, and sometimes it would land on a protein bar, so they left with a protein bar, nothing happened. Sometimes it would land on free coaching, and I said, great, you've won a month of free coaching, do you want to just fill your details in and I'll get in touch and we can get that sorted? And they were like, yeah, no problem. So I was always doing stuff like that. I was always leading with free. If I was speaking to someone in the gym and they were asking about like what program I'm doing or whatever else, I'd be like, rather than like send them a training program or a recipe book, I was like, man, if you want, I'll coach you for free for a month and show you what it's about. And people always appreciated that. And yeah, it worked really well. Um, so I'd done that. I'd done the main thing I've always done has probably been paid advertising. Uh, Last year I hardly did any videos or content, but I'm going a bit more in on the content this year because it does help people know you, see your face, understand who you are, and build that bit of trust in a industry slash market where there's hardly any trust these days. So
Certainly. And I think as well, it's about putting yourself out there so people can get to know you, because unfortunately now, Chat GPT, AI, whatever, is pretty good at doing a meal plan or a training program or anything, that kind of thing. But it can't talk back to you, not in a proper conversation. It's
yeah, it can't phone you up when you haven't responded for 2 days or
That's it. Yeah, it's a totally different thing, and that's why I think you've got to really push on the content front. I mean, a lot of my stuff hasn't been performing that well, but it is getting views. And the way I'm just thinking is like, it is still getting in people's minds that, they're going to keep saying you, they're going to keep saying you. And I
yeah,
think as long as you just keep doing that and talking on the stories, I think people will come in and will buy into you. But as well, that the other thing is, the amount of mentorships that there are at the moment. And I think a lot of these things and the prices they charge in are trying to sell coaches the dream and hooking them in, and it's just not doing them any good. It's
yeah, yeah. That's one thing you got to be careful of is who you go with for a mentorship.
yeah,
Big time. I think,
Certainly.
yeah, because I can't say that I've been in many mentorships. I've been in two fitness based ones. I've been in like a separate business style one. I've been in a sports therapy one. Um, I've done a few, and I have to say that I don't regret joining any of them because they've all
Hmm.
given me something. I can say though that some of them weren't worth the big price that I paid in
Yeah.
terms of what I got back. But for example, I bought this course recently. I paid for this mentorship 6 months ago. 9 month contract, so I've actually still a bit of time left with them. Big money, like serious money. I was going to get me and Morgan for a long time wanted to get a camper van, do it up, travel in this camper
Yeah.
van. And I was like, that can wait. I'm gonna buy this mentorship, and it's been okay. Like it's helped me in some ways, but I certainly haven't made the money back that I spent on it. However, I bought a course there recently, and the way the girl was explaining the course that I've watched so far, I was like, this all makes sense. It was kind of taking what that other mentorship was telling me,
Mm,
but she was explaining it in a different light, and it just clicked with me. And I
yeah.
was like, had I not joined that first mentorship there I was talking about, that other one wouldn't have made sense. So
Yeah.
I think if you are coaching, you're wanting to join a mentorship, you're wanting to get a business coach, ask them like what their principles are. Ask them like, what are you actually going to teach me, and how are you going to teach me it? So they might say, I'm going to teach you to get more clients. Okay, cool. How? Is it content? Is it outbound? Is it ads? Is it posting in Facebook groups? Is it like what way are we going to do? What method are you going to teach me? And
Yeah.
ask yourself, could you do that method long term?
Yeah.
Um, and also look at how that mentor has attracted you. So if that mentor has sent you 100 messages on Instagram and then you sign up to them, that's probably what they're going to get you to do, and it
Mm,
works. And if you are cool to do that, like no problems, could do that. Then the reason I joined the mentorship that I'm in at the moment was because I'd seen a couple of the guys' YouTube videos that I was watching, made a lot of sense. Uh, I clicked on an ad. He asked me a few questions about what I was doing, and then he was like, "Would you be interested in hearing about the program?" And I was like, yeah, if you can give me a few details. And he just sent me a PDF, and it had everything in it, price,
brilliant.
what you get. And I was like, I was expecting to be put on a call, had my pain points poked at,
Hmm.
being made to feel like I needed to cry first. And I really liked the way he did it. Now, at the time, I was like, too much money, not for me. But I kept watching his videos, kept reading his emails he would send. He then did like a workshop for 4 hours, and after the workshop, I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready to do this now. And I was
Yeah.
like, I like that way of attracting clients. I like that way of just being upfront, like, yo, this is what we do, this is the price. If you want to join, like, cool. If not, then also cool.
Yeah. I
Um,
like that. So is that, I mean, we were just chatting before the call, and something we were really pushed on and trained on in our mentorship that we met him was sales calls. You know, do a sales call, pain points, all that carry on. And the I've just came away from that. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'm not bothered. I'll name names, but when I was in Mark Cole's mentorship, that to me, I just thought I can't do this. The way the sales calls were structured, and you know, stuff like, you know, oh, I can't afford your program, Conrad, rather than being like, no problem, or can we do a split pay, or we have this option, or this second tier. You know, you were meant to use lines like, do you not value your health more than you value money? And I was like, am I fuck gonna say that? I was like, that's it. Never in a million years. I could be down to my last penny, and I'm not gonna take people
you
on
get
like that.
slapped in the street if you said that in person to someone.
1,000,000%. It's ridiculous the things he was coming out with, and as I say, you know, he's a charlatan, and that's a polite version. But you know, I just think we've been that hammered into sales calls, and the thing is, something that I've started to get a little bit more into, particularly through doing like a bodybuilding prep and things like that, and thinking about health a bit more, is, you know, I've encouraged clients to get things like blood work done if I feel they need it. You know, if they come and say, look, I'm struggling with energy, this, that, I'm like, look, here's a link to Medichecks, get a
Yep.
private blood draw. But some stuff like that, it's a couple £100. I'd rather, instead of giving that to me, put it on back into sort of your health, things like that.
Mhm.
Because if we then find something, that's something that, you know, you could fix them with maybe a bit of magnesium or some electrolyte, something
Yep.
like that, B12 shot, you know, and then you fix that. It's coming, you're investing in yourself for that rather than, you know, I mean, a lot of these mentorships, as we know, are like £800 a month, stuff like that. And I think my mum once made this point, and she says, you know, you're wanting people to pay you that, but that you're only these mentorships are only asking you to charge that because that's what you're paying them a month,
Mhm.
plus anything else for in-person events, things like that. It's to kind of make them look good. And I thought she's kind of got a point. I mean, there's some high-level coaches that I know what they charge. There's a guy I know of that has clients on the Olympia stage, and he's like £300 a month. But I'm like, yeah, that's clients on the Olympia stage for £300 a month. Like, whereas we've got a lot of other people out there that are getting away with, I say getting away with, you know, they may be charging £2,000 for 3 months, and it's like, well, hang on, these people have Olympia level clients, some of the
Yeah.
best physiques in the world. How are you charging more than them? And when I heard that about what other folks are charging at that level, I kind of thought, yeah, I need to have a bit of a think about this. And, you
Yeah.
know, even for some folks that I maybe have done a 3 month up payment for, I've then later down the line just said, look, you know what you gave us for that 3 months, have it for 6 months next time, have it for maybe a bit longer. Because the more a client's doing well, you're building rapport with them, things like that. You become a matey with them. You don't want to keep having them as a direct debit in a way. I'd rather get another 12 months out of them for less money. They've been with us a couple of years. I've got them further along, and they've maybe been able to reinvest along the way, supplements, blood work, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
look good on holiday and send me the pictures of them on holiday, you know, rather than keep pulling out all the time on coaching, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, you're rewarding people for loyalty and for staying as well. But yeah, big time. I think if I don't have an issue with people charging extortionate prices,
Mm,
um, and big prices. It's more how they charge it. So
yes.
if anyone's ever inquired to an online coach, majority of the time you're not going to get the price.
Mm,
You're going to be asked to jump on a phone call,
yeah.
which is grand. Like I think consultation calls are great, but on that phone call, there's going to be a lot of questions that make you stretch the gap between where you are and where you want to go. So this is you. You're in a really shit position. Look how much you failed, and this is what you could be. And then at the end, it's here is this big extortionate price. You have to pay it all up front,
Hmm.
and then if you say no for whatever reason, or you got to think about it for whatever reason, it's then a case of mental wizardry to get you to pull the credit card out.
Yeah.
I've heard people literally being asked to pull credit cards out to borrow money, etc. Um, there's also a lot of people will say like, okay, it's this price, and then they go, I can't afford that, and they go, well, what if we split it into two? And you're like,
Mm,
well, why didn't you tell me that at the start? Like,
yeah.
just trying to extract as much money.
Yeah.
I understand as well, like there's people that need a push,
Mm,
and when you invest that type of money in a coach, you're not just investing in a training plan and nutrition. You're investing it in additional years of your life. You're investing it in a better quality holiday, better quality memories because you're confident, as you say, like blood work getting done that they wouldn't have otherwise got done that
mm,
then leads them to feeling so much better in their daily life. Maybe getting a promotion in work, like it brings their money back in ways. Even like I would get some of my clients to I've sent blood pressure monitors to them. They've had their blood pressure checked. They've got high blood pressure, and all of a sudden, dull headaches make sense. Fatigue makes sense, and like high blood pressure is a ticking time bomb for death.
oh, yeah.
And they see that and they're like, okay, now I gotta really do something.
Hmm.
And they fix their blood pressure, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm probably gonna live another 20 years. Like, yeah, that's worth it. And one of the mentorships I joined, very similar processes in terms of how you sign up. You don't get the price. They put your pain points. They use a bit of mental wizardry, and I invested a lot of money because of that. But I'm thankful for it too because I
Mm,
needed it. I don't know where I would be if I didn't invest in that mentorship. So I can see both sides of the coin, but the way that the way that I like to do it personally, everyone runs things differently. If someone inquires, I have two programs. I'll ask you a couple of questions, and then once I know your answers and know who you are and what you're at, I'll be like, here's our website. You can read all about it. You can see what you get. You can see the price. Let me know. Um, I hate phone calls as well, so I don't, that's why I don't do
Yeah,
that.
that's it. I think because there's a lot of still some time wasted with phone calls. I mean, I put my questions on my Calendly link to get people to book in, but again, there's nothing stopping them not turning up. I mean, I was in a, there was a mentorship, and I think they were once saying it makes it impossible for them not to show up. I thought, well, if they don't click that bloody link, they're not coming. You
Yeah.
know, it's you know, they not turn up. I sent you this link to the studio today to record this online on Riverside. You didn't have to click it.
Yeah.
It's there's no guarantees with any of it.
I
But I
think
think, yeah, go on, Luke. Yeah, go on.
uh, the way I've heard James Smith talk about it a lot, and it really made me make the switch. Like I always thought, for when I did sports massage and injury rehab, I would run ads. People would message me. I would say, "Do you want this time or this time?" They would say this time, and that was then booked in. It was done. Now you would still get some people didn't show up, etc. But there was no mental wizardry. When I started coaching online, I thought it was this whole other different world, and it ran differently. And you had to have the conversations with people, and then you had to get them onto this call, and then you had to like follow this script and stuff. And
Yeah, the scripts.
like imagine you'd ask me, do you want to do this podcast? And I said, yeah, let's do it. And you were like, okay, let's jump on a call before the podcast to figure out what time we can do. And I'd be like, mate, just text me.
Yeah,
We'll sort it out. Like,
that's right. Yeah.
but and James Smith always uses a restaurant example, like or hotel example. He's like, how much is your room for the night? And they're like, come on down. We'll talk about it. We'll see what room suits your needs, and we'll see what rooms you like, and then we can talk about the price. And then he's like, he gets down there, and the room's just way too out of his budget, and he's like feeling like he has to do it now. But I think consultation calls are great, and there is coaches that'll put in their links like, the programs, depending on what's going to be your goals, are in between this price and this price. Is that something that's in your budget? And they can sort that out ahead of time, so then the person who's going on the call knows like this is what it's going to probably be. But there's a lot of people that would really hide that until the very, very end.
Yeah, certainly. So we're getting close to kind of wrapping this up, as I appreciate you've kind of got to get on for the day.
Yeah,
But
we've got another like 10 minutes or so. So
cool. So let's bring this up then. So for anyone that's maybe starting out coaching, or they may be on the other end of things, maybe struggling to get leads, something like that, struggling to get people in, what would your advice be for them as someone at your level?
someone who's just starting off, I would first off ask yourself like what position, and not even ask yourself, like get a notebook, sit down and treat this as actual work. I always thought that this wasn't work, like it was fluffy imagination, but it's not. Like sit down and write like where do you want to be, like the version of you in a year's time. What many clients do you want to have, what money do you want to be making, how do you want the day-to-day to run, where do you want to be, and then once you've got that, write down what skills am I lacking in order to get there. So sometimes it's just knowledge, like I just don't even know where to start, so that's
Yeah.
your first problem to solve. Secondly is, if say it's not knowledge, and say you're like, well, I don't really know how to generate leads, that's probably my biggest problem because no one's inquiring, I'm not
Yeah.
having any conversations with interested people, and I'm just like, where do I even start? So then it's lead generation is a lack of skill. And
Yeah.
it's not that it's impossible, it's just that you don't know certain things. There's people out there generating hundreds of clients every single day through group programs and different things, so they just have a skill that you don't. It's not that they're more famous, it's not that they're a better coach in certain circumstances. It's not that they're better looking. It's not that they're in better shape. Like I was flipping 25 pounds overweight and had 50 or 60 clients. Like I probably shouldn't have been coaching, but it's it's none of those things. It's just skills. It's just business skills that you don't yet know, and the beauty about it is they can be learned. So like four ways to learn, 4 ways to get clients in. You've got cold outreach, reaching out to people who don't know you. Warm outreach, reaching out to people who do know you. You've got paid ads and you've got content. Pick one of those you can see yourself doing long term and learn about it. They all have their downsides. Cold outreach, it's awkward. Most people tell you to fuck off. It requires a lot of work to just get one client, but
Yeah.
it works and it's free and it's cheap. Warm outreach, you have to. It burns out quite quickly because you only got a certain amount of people that you know, so you have to go and make more relationships, more friendships, chat to more people in gyms, chat to more people at coffee shops, chat to more people in your Instagram DMs, become friendly with them, build a relationship, offer advice where you can. Bit of a longer game. You've got content, has the potential to be huge. It's free. There's a heavy time investment. It can be a bit soul destroying because you're making tons of videos and sometimes seeing nothing in return. Then you've got paid ads. You get one paid ad right, you could fucking change your whole life. But you could spend a lot of money learning it and testing it. And sometimes it feels like you're just setting money on fire. So
Mm.
none of them are easy. Like they all have their downsides. But the best bit of advice I could give is probably number one, get proof. Like use one of those methods to get people in for free first.
Mm.
Use those advertisement methods to let people know I need to get people in for free. Deliver a good service. Figure out what's wrong. When people come through the doors, are they getting results? If not, why not? Survey them. Any bit of proof you get, use that for your advertising. And then once you've done that, find someone who is already doing what you want to do and either ask them or pay them what they're doing or what your next step is.
Yeah.
And then step three, figure out what the inputs are. Like figure out what you have to do day by day in order to get to that position. So for me, I know like if I have, so I sometimes I would run ads to people that would watch 25% of my videos to get them to watch more videos. So I'm force feeding them content, and then I would run a bit of a conversation sort of ad to get conversations in the door. And I know that if I have 100 conversations, like 3 people will end up eventually becoming clients.
Yeah.
So that's my like input, and that's took me a while to learn through different mentorships, studying, reading books, YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That's my input to get 3 clients. If I want 6 clients, I need to double that input. So find out the inputs and then figure out how you can triple or quadruple your inputs, and you'll get the output that you're looking for.
Fabulous. I like that. I think that's a nice way to end. Bit of positivity to help folks out. Luke, it's been a pleasure once again to have you on. We will definitely have you back again. I think we could probably even do a little bit of an extension on what we've talked about today. We could go on for a while about. But Luke,
Yep.
anyone who wants to work with you in a coaching or business mentoring capacity after all that, where's best to find you again, brother?
Yes, Instagram, Luke Rowe underscore. Rowe is spelled ROE. Luke Rowe
Fabulous.
underscore on pretty much everything.
Awesome. Luke, it's been a pleasure. Thank you ever so much for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
Yes.
everyone for listening. That was Luke Rowe on the CoachCon podcast. Take care.